Do you ever feel like...
My name Kodak Black, but when you see me, I'm white.
Welcome to the club. I saw a thing online that said that Donald Trump pardoned you from jail and you got out because Donald Trump did it. Is that true?
It goes the other way around. I did that for him.
Kodak Black, once one of the most promising young rappers in the game, is now making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Recent viral footage shows him sitting in the middle of the street looking completely out of it, eating chicken and seeming almost unrecognizable. Fans are worried, and so are industry peers. Kodak's erratic behavior has been escalating, and now even Kanye West has stepped in, pleading for someone to help him before it's too late. Just a few years ago, Kodak was on top of the rap world, dropping hit after hit and securing his place in the industry, but over time, legal troubles, substance abuse, and questionable decisions have overshadowed his talent. The most recent incident where he appeared strung out in the middle of the road isn't just concerning, it's heartbreaking. This isn't the same Kodak that fans fell in love with, and it's becoming clear that he's losing himself. Kanye West, despite his own controversies, seems to be one of the few major artists genuinely concerned for Kodak's well-being. Ye took to social media saying he was getting on a flight to Atlanta to personally intervene and help Kodak get back on track. But the question is, will Kodak even accept the help? Or is he too far gone? Kodak's struggles aren't new. He's been battling legal troubles, drug accusations, and erratic behavior for years. Back in early 2023, he was arrested on firearm and drug possession charges.
You may remember Kodak Black was sentenced to 3 years in prison on weapons charges back in 2019. He was later commuted by then President Trump.
He later admitted to being under the influence of lean, but denied using any other substances. This led to yet another mugshot of the rapper going viral, fueling conversations about his downward trajectory. Things took an even worse turn when federal agents raided Kodak's Florida home. Rather than spending years in jail, he was offered the chance to check into a rehab facility instead. He took the deal, and for a while it seemed like things were finally looking up. Kodak was writing music again, hitting the gym, and even dropping new music that was making waves. His track Walk racked up over 30 million views in just 2 weeks, proving that he still had star power. But success can be a dangerous thing. Instead of staying on the straight path, Kodak slowly fell back into his old ways. He started appearing on live streams in a dazed state, sweating profusely and acting paranoid. Fans began noticing the signs, and industry insiders started getting worried. The Kodak that had just made a triumphant return was slipping away once again. One of the first major red flags came during a live stream with popular Twitch streamer Kai Cenat. Over 100,000 viewers tuned in to watch, but instead of seeing Kodak's usual charisma, they saw something else. Kodak sweating heavily, slurring his words, and swatting at imaginary things in the air. He was clearly not himself. The clip quickly went viral, and the internet was in shock. Fans begged Kodak to seek help, but instead of acknowledging the issue, he brushed it off. The following day, he went live on Instagram, trying to downplay the situation. He claimed that people were just looking for a reason to criticize him, and that nobody really cared about him anyway. It was a sad and revealing moment. Kodak was fully aware of what was happening, but instead of seeking help, he was pushing people away. This is where Kanye West comes back into the picture. Seeing Kodak in this state, Ye couldn't just sit back and watch. He took to social media, calling on anyone in Atlanta who knew Kodak personally to step in. He even mentioned flying out himself to try and help. But was Kodak ready to listen? As Kodak's situation worsened, it became clear that he wasn't just dealing with substance abuse, there was something deeper going on. In another viral moment, a fan approached Kodak and told him, "I love when you're sober." Instead of taking the message to heart, Kodak snapped back, aggressively rejecting the idea of staying clean. "Love me for what?" Kodak fired back. "Look at all this money. Look at all this cash." This response sent a clear message. Kodak didn't think he had a problem. To him, as long as the money was flowing, everything was fine. But everyone around him could see the reality. He was spiraling. And unfortunately, denial is one of the biggest obstacles when it comes to getting help. With Kodak rejecting the idea of sobriety, the industry started stepping in. Hip-hop legends Wallo and Gillie tried to give Kodak some much-needed unsolicited advice, telling him that he had kids who needed him, a family depending on him, and a legacy worth protecting. Their message was clear. Kodak needed to wake up before it was too late. After weeks of backlash and concern from fans and peers alike, Kodak eventually issued a public apology. He admitted to making mistakes and expressed regret for how his actions had hurt those around him. He even apologized to his mother and ex-girlfriend, acknowledging that he had disrespected them in the past. For a brief moment, it seemed like Kodak was turning over a new leaf, but just as quickly as he apologized, he was back to his old ways. Shortly after, he went on Instagram Live and made some alarming comments. He claimed that the whole world was on drugs and that everyone was just waiting to pass. This wasn't just Kodak admitting to using, it was him revealing a much deeper, more concerning mindset. It was clear that he wasn't just battling substance abuse, there was something much darker going on in his head. Despite his own erratic behavior and questionable statements, Kanye West might be the only person who can actually get through to Kodak Black. Kanye has a history of stepping in to help people who are struggling, even when the rest of the industry turns its back. Kodak even acknowledged Kanye's gesture, calling him a real one for reaching out. But the question remains, will Kanye actually be able to help? Or is Kodak too far gone? Many believe that Kodak needs serious intervention, not just from Kanye, but from professionals who can guide him toward real recovery. It's clear that Kodak is dealing with more than just substance abuse. His words and actions suggest that he's mentally in a dark place, and without real help, his situation could end tragically. Kodak Black is at a crucial crossroads in his life. The decisions he makes in the coming months will determine whether he reclaims his career and well-being or continues down a path that has ended tragically for so many before him. The music industry has seen its fair share of artists who have struggled with substance abuse, mental health issues, and self-destruction, many of whom never got the chance to make a full comeback. The fear is that Kodak is heading toward the same fate unless something drastically changes. Kanye West's intervention, while unexpected, presents a rare opportunity. Ye, despite his own personal battles, understands the weight of fame and the mental battles that come with it. If anyone in the industry could possibly reach Kodak, it might be him. But is Kodak willing to listen? That remains the biggest question. From what we've seen, he has continuously rejected help, dismissing those who express concern and instead doubling down on self-destructive behavior. This pattern of brief apologies followed by relapses is not uncommon in cases of addiction, but the more it continues, the harder it becomes to break the cycle. Beyond Kanye, Kodak has others in his corner, family, friends, and industry veterans like Wallo and Gillie, who have been through their own struggles and come out on the other side. They see the bigger picture. Kodak isn't just an artist, he's a father, he's a son, he's a leader to those who look up to him. His success has supported not just himself, but his entire family. If he falls, a lot of people fall with him. This is bigger than just Kodak the rapper. This is about Kodak the human being, and whether or not he values his own life enough to fight for it. But here's the harsh truth. Nobody can force Kodak to change. No amount of money, fame, or concern from his peers can make a difference if he doesn't want it. He has to make the decision for himself. He has to want to get better, not just for a short period, but for good. And if he doesn't, the industry will move on, just as it always does. The same people who once cheered for him will soon treat him as another cautionary tale, another what could have been story. We've seen it happen time and time again. So the real question is, will Kodak Black take this lifeline? Or is this just another chapter in a long, painful decline? For the sake of his family, his children, and his own future, let's hope he makes the right choice before it's too late.